Hello, good evening, everyone. B'tvoch, big night of slichos, the first night of slichos. Nelson says an amazing thing. This week's Pasha, Pashas Kisovei, Kitseisei, talks about a Pasha where you are going out, you're going out to war, you're going out to work, you're going out. These are the more, and this is like, the non-routine things in your life. What it doesn't matter if you're going to a physical war or to war against the Sahara. This is it's a once in a whatever it is kind of endeavor. Kisavoy talks about all coming in. Talks about routine. Come to your land. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. It's all about routine. And when Moshe Rabbeinu speaks about klala and bracha, talks about consequences. The message more than anything else is that we view routine as something that really has no end. It's just like, you're just like washing dishes, You wash dishes and you keep on washing dishes and you keep on washing dishes. And anybody who is impatient can really go bananas from washing dishes. Dishes is something you need to keep on washing, not watch if they're diminishing or not. You just keep on washing, suddenly they're done. Routine is something like that, but the main nekuda of this week's parsha about all the brachas and the klalos is, man, every time that Reb Nosson talks about if you should listen to the Kodesh Baruch Hu says, not, he says he always uses the word hayom, today, meaning that routine is really, there's nothing routine about routine. Routine is every single moment in your day and in your life counts. It counts for you, it counts for your children, it counts for your offsprings until the end of time. Every single day, every single hour, and every single moment is a moment for Avodas Hashem. It's so easy, to daven, forget about it, it's not working. Today is not a day, today is not I'll start tomorrow, next davening, or whatever it is. It's not working. Forget about it. No, there's no such thing. Today is a day, and this hour is this hour, and this moment is in this moment. And the Avodas Hashem that you do at this moment is unique to this moment. This moment will never return, and so forth and so on. There's a lot of, take a look, speaks about in quite a few places. So, as we go, it's the last Motzei Shabbos that, I don't know, maybe next Motzei Shabbos will be in a place where there's Wi-Fi, so we might be able to have a share. It's possible. We shall see. We shall see what we shall see. I don't know. But anyhow, Mitzvah Shem, I will let you know. So, we are starting tonight with the story of the Baal Shem HaKodesh. And the story was that he led Rabbi Yechiel. I'm not sure who is this Rabbi Yechiel he was talking about, because his son-in-law was called Rabbi Yechiel the Deutscher, the German. He came from Germany. He was the husband of Ras Odel. the father of the Baruch of Mezhebosh, and Befraim from Tzaddikim, the Degel Machne Ephraim, and of course, Ras Fege, the mother of Rabbeinu Kodesh. So I don't know if we're talking about this Rabbi Yechiel, but anyhow, the Master Baal Shemtov, he accompanied Rabbi Yechiel to be the Rav in the Sichos Haran. When he came to the town, so Rabbi Yechiel darshaned in the shul, like the new Rav comes and gives a drashan. And there was a big London over there in that town. His name was Michal Dayan. He was a Dayan. Michal was a big Talmid Chacham. And he would ask kashas in the middle of the drasha of Rabbi Yechiel, the new Rav. So Rabbi Yechiel told him, listen, come to me for Shalosh Shudas, and I will, for you, I will give you an answer to every single one of your kashas. So when he came, so Michal came to the Shalosh Shudas, was all the Baal Shemtov was there, and the famous Talmud, Wolf Kitzis. So Michal started, arguing, in limud with Rabbi Yechiel, the new Rav. And the Wolf Kitzis was dissembling every single kashas that Michal was at question until he was beaten, and he was very embarrassed by that. But it's still he was very stubborn, and he would not accept, would not accept the fact that that he was defeated, wasn't to be moide on the emes. Up to Shabbos, the Baal Shemtov and the new Rav and Yechiel were invited to Bris Milah outside of town. So Michal pushed himself to go with them to the bris. And once he was there, he started to speak about measuring the times or the stars, the Ibor, the Chodesh, so deep mathematical calculations. The Wolf Kitzis answered him, and Michal saw that even in math and in astronomy, he was a bigger alum than him. And he says, how can a chassid know all these things? He thought, the chassidim don't learn. How do you know all these things? So when the Baal Shem Tov wanted to leave, he was concerned that Rabbi Michal the Lamdan, will pester Rabbi Yechiel with his questions. So he just removed from him all the study, just became a Namaratz in one fell swoop. Boom. So the minig of Rabbi Michal was to wake up Chitzois, learning Shas, Poskim. He opened up a sefer, couldn't understand a thing. Thought maybe he drank, they call honey water or whatever. So closed the sefer, went back to sleep. In the morning after davening, he opened up a sefer, his kviastik shir. He said again, he doesn't understand anything. He understood the Baal Shem Tov did it to him. So he came to Baal Shem Tov and says, give me break my Torah. So the Baal Shem Tov says, well, you learn Torah to chop it with people. You Torah where people learn in order to argue with people. That's the purpose of learning Torah. And he really admonished him for his ways. And he made tshuva, and Baruch Hashem, he became a tzaddik gama. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. So after we have learned this particular story of the Baal Shem HaKadosh, exclusive again Aleinu, always to a wonderful week. So the story today, Sipurey Tzaddikim today, will be from the Rabbi Shir Heschel from Apta, the Apta Ruv, that Rabbeinu saw when he was a young man. Rabbeinu liked him a lot. And at the end of his life, he became the Rav Mezhebosh. I think it's a story that I once told you. That's not the story that is written here, but okay. First of all, let's tell you the stories written here, and then maybe if we have time, we'll talk about the other story as well. When the Aptaruv was in Mezhebosh, as close to Mezhebosh, there was a guy that leased a place there. There was Yeshuas, that he was making miracles for people. Anybody that came to him was Zochim Yeshua, Refuah, whatever it is. And the people, the Talmidim of the Aptaru, they told him they heard all these amazing things about him, and he didn't know. He was just, somebody who held the farm, as he was working a farm. How to become a Polishus? They didn't know what is it, because is he from the side of the B'kedusha and he's Tzaddik Nista, or Chas Chalila, he's from the Sitra Achra? He didn't know. So the Aptaruv decided that I'm going to go to that village to see his deeds, and if he's really such a big tzaddik, because if it's not, doesn't come with Ma'asim Tovim, bevadai Achron Etzlan from the Sitra Achra. And he went, and he came to that Lisa, I don't know how to call it. And the Aptaruv, like camouflaged himself. Nobody knew that he was the Aptaruv, and he came there. For 3 days, he didn't say anything. He didn't see anything by him. It is a big tzaddik. But he wasn't suspicious, it didn't appear suspicious that being from the Sitra Achra. So he's behaving Jewishly, put some film, davens. And all day long he was stand by the inn, and he was selling liquor to the goyim. So the Aptaru said maybe he serves the Kodesh Baruch Hu at night, and in the day he's just doing tzedakah b'chol eitz. He's mefarnes his family. Maybe he's doing this whole thing, Shem Shemaim, without any. And so at night, he saw this innkeeper, whatever it is, going to bed, going to sleep, sleeping all night. Wake up in the morning, washing Negelwasser, and daven like everybody. No special fervor, no special, just regular. And it was a big pella for the Aptaruv. He knew for sure this guy is not from Sitra Achra. He's not a Tumadik guy. And he's behaving, like a simple, innocent, straight Jew, no mix up, no fooling around, and so from where does he have that kind of ability to perform all these miracles? He's not such an Oived Hashem, with the big madrigas. So the Aptaruv decided at the end, I'm going to ask him. So I'm going to talk to him. And if he's not going to tell me what he does, I will reveal myself to him, that I'm the Aptaruv, and I will order him to tell me everything. So he asked him, why do you have all this koyach? So the innkeeper said, I don't know what you're talking about. So the Abtaruv says, okay, in that case, he just revealed himself to him, and he decreed upon him to reveal to him. So the innkeeper said, it's a mitzvah lishma divrei chachamim. So I will tell you what this is all about. Everything that is going on here is just from the Tochen. It's not because of any great Avodas Hashem, whatever it is. Just, I'll tell you what happened with me, with B'tochen HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's, I can't tell you everything because they'll take a long time. And I can't, speak for so long before Your Holiness. So when the Abtaruv heard it, he realized that he was saying the truth. And he asked him, please let me know. Tell me what is it that happened to you. He said, I trust in Kodesh Baruch Hu at any given moment in time. And any, upheaval in life, I lower my hand and I pass through it. Baruch Hashem, my B'tochen Kodesh Baruch Hu was strong. And my midah was that when I had a hard time pronouncing, whatever it is, when I had money, I gave it to poor people. And I gave them the ayin yafo and a happy face. So once I had guests here in the inn, and I was very happy with them. Immediately, suddenly came a messenger from the minister of the town, if you Lord, I'm not sure. So I have to come immediately, and if not, they're going to take me and put me in jail, in the dungeons. So I figured in my mind, mitzvah slichos sarchim, and how can I leave it? And if the minister will be upset with me, I trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu that when I will come before him, Hashem will change his heart. And that's the way it was, B'ezrat Hashem. And more than once, I finished, I had no money left at all. I didn't have money to pay the rent. And I didn't feel, desperate or anything. Because Baruch Hashem, I trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That he was, and at the last moment, when I'll need it, I'll have it. And so happened. Baruch Hashem, Baal Sibos, with his Rachamim, always sent me the money that I needed with somebody did business deal with me, whatever it is, before I came to the minister, and so forth and so on. And now the Maisa. And the last Maisa was that after a few years, all my money was gone. That's it, whatever I had. I didn't have a penny. And I was very happy. Big Baruch Hashem Bil B'tochen and Kodesh Baruch Hu. So the people of my household, pressed me to go to the neighboring town, to look for a partner, to make a partnership, to find parnasa for my family. Now, and I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to go. I trusted the Kodesh Baruch Hu. I didn't want to go and find. I said, well, I'm 100% certain that with B'tochen and Kodesh Baruch Hu, if I trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu, Kodesh Baruch Hu is not going to let me down. Kodesh Baruch Hu can be my shia a lot, a little, whatever it is, with a partner, without a partner, it doesn't count. But I couldn't hear my people, my household people were badgering me. So while I was going towards the town, I came through a field, and I was filled with tremendous simcha, tremendous bitochen. So it came upon me, and decided I'm going to daven to Kodesh Baruch Hu. And from the depth of my heart, I said, the master of all creations, you are supervising everything. You feed everything and everyone. And please listen to me. I'm in distress, and my wife and my household, people of my household, are pressing me to go to town to take a partner of a person who's, just a human being that today is here, tomorrow is gone. So please, I beg you, Rebbeinu Shalom, you know something, you be my shutaf. Please send me your bracha, and whatever it is I will earn, I will divide into two. One part will be for me and my family, you know, to feed ourselves, and one part to give to you, to give to poor people and to hold them in the chachamim, on the Torah. All this, half of it will be kodesh l'Hashem. And when I finished davening, I put my hand in my pocket and I saw that I have a silver coin. So I went back to my house and I told my household people, listen, I took myself a partner, big partner. He's big, he's rich. And here's the first coin, the silver coin that he gave me, the bracha v'atzlacha. That day, immediately, I bought schara with this silver coin. And Hashem Yisbarach has opened up his brachas and sent me a big shefa. And I made two coin boxes. And any time that the money comes into my hand, I divide it into two. Half I put in this box, and half I put into this box. And one, and I'm not going to give this job to anybody from either somebody, a worker, or anybody from my family, just me alone, because I don't want chas v'chalila somebody will steal and damage the shutfas. So that's why I sleep all night long. So I'll have a koyach to stand all day long alone by the bar. And I daven very early in the morning. And after davening, I open up the inn and I stand there and I don't move. So chas v'chalila, I shouldn't be moyal chas v'chalila in the shutfas and the kes and the money, which is the kodesh, which Hashem, I give to poor people and tamid chachamim of the Torah and Shemaisa, and that's what I do. That's all I do. That's my ta'avodah. And that's and this is what they hear in the Shemaim when I give brachas. Whatever it is, they do what they do in the Shemaim. So the Abtaruv heard his words and he said to his people, why were you wondering about his koyach? Don't you know there's a din shulchan aruch that a shutuf, masha also, a partner, when there is a partnership, a decision of our partner, if a partner makes a decision, he does something, it's done, it's accepted. So he's part of Kodesh Baruch Hu, be'emes ve'be'emuno. He's trustworthy. He's doing it with everything that he has, so he can make yeshuas. Hashem Yisbarach be'ezer Hashem will be Mashiach. So will be our betochen. Kodesh Baruch Hu adayad be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. Be'ezrat Hashem. Ad Kan is the story of one story of the Abtaruv. We have another story about the Abtaruv, which I believe, I know that I said it before, I just don't know in which, if I said it with you around or if it was Motzei Shabbos or another shir. But anyhow, there was a Jew, I heard this story from Yaakov Meir Shechter, Shlita, Shemishmoto. that there was a Jew in that area that decided that he was converting. He was married, left his wife, whatever it is, he converted. And he became big. He became now we all know that Nebuch, people that are converts, Jews that convert the religion, they are the biggest anti-Semites. In fact, throughout the ages, the biggest persecutions came from Jews that converted themselves. I don't know how much you know about it, but the general of Titus, his chief of staff that actually burned the Beis Hamikdash was a converted Jew from Alexandria. Then he converted. He became a high-ranking officer in Titus's army, and he is the one that burned Beis Hamikdash. You know, the Romans, Lamaisa, did not come into Eretz Yisrael. They left Eretz Yisrael alone until the two brothers, Aristobulus and forgot the name of the other, were arguing between themselves who will be the king. So one of them called the Romans in to help him, ascend to the throne. The Romans were a little bit like Stalin and the rest of these guys. Once you call them in, they stay in. So this is how all this thing was going on. Anyhow, so this converted Jew was a big anti-Semite. It was far worse than all his, and he went up and up and up, and he became like one of the feudal lords. He was very successful until he became one of the inner council of the king. I don't know if it was Poland, it was Ukraine, those areas, this parallelogram called Poland, changed borders, some of them disappeared from existence and became again. I'm not sure what but it was run that there were one king and there were all the feudal laws, and what happened is that they would remain laws, and people knew this lord, this Jew, forget about it. There's no talking to him, stay away from him. He's the worst of the worst. Even by the Goyim, it was famous that he's like a big anti-Semite. So one day they had this royal council, and all the feudal lords sat together, and one of the other lords said the famous blood libel, that the Jews in his area, they shechted a Christian child or a woman or whatever it is to use for matzahs, whatever. And that started a real big anti-Semitic discourse over there by the king's palace. And they decided that they're finishing off with all the Jews. I don't know if the idea was to exterminate them, chas v'shalom, or expel them. I'm not sure what the story was, but that's it, finished. No more Jews. And the law of the land was, when you're making such a drastic decision, that all the members of the forum of this royal chamber had to sign that that decree. And when it came to this person, to this feudal lord, he said, you all know that I used to be Jewish. And you all know that I harbor no love for Judaism or for Jewish people. But I can tell you one thing for sure, there's no such thing as Jews. It's fiction. It's just baloney. This is poppycock. So the king said that if anybody else would have said it, you wouldn't have believed it. They all knew that he is the biggest anti-Semite of them all. And if he says it, when he was a Jew, when he says there's no such thing, then the whole thing is not to be believed, and they canceled this decree. And immediately after this happened, and he went back to his chambers or to his house, or whatever, he felt an immense urge to become Jewish again. He didn't know what to do. He basically burned his bridges. I mean, I don't know what he did, but whatever it is, I mean, it's to be such an anti-Semite that all the anti-Semite trusts him because he's the biggest anti-Semite of them all. It's not because he said a foul word at somebody or something. Anyhow, he didn't know what to do. So he went to Mezhegosh, and he went to the house of the Abtaruv. Abtaruv was, at that time, considered Tzaddik Ador. He was an old man, and so he knocked on the door. The Abtaruv opened the door, and he saw who was standing at the door, and he almost fainted. And he asked him, what do you want? So he says to the Abtaruv, he says that I have a very important issue to discuss with you. So the Abtaruv said, I can't do this. I'm sorry, I can't. You have to do it for somebody else. And that person said, no, it has to be you. I have to speak with you. And the Abtaruv says, I'm sorry, I will not do this. You go to a different rov, whatever it is you have in mind, and speak to them. Don't speak to me. That feudal lord, whatever, says no, and I have to speak to you. So the Abtaruv got upset, and he had he had his walking stick in his hand, and he said, on this walking stick, grass will grow before I talk to you. And as he said it, grass grew on the walking stick. So the Abtaruv saw that, he realized this is a himmelzach. This is a heaven business, a heaven's business. This is come in, and he told him the whole story. And the gist of what happened afterwards, that the Abtaruv sent him to a certain place, and he didn't, not to go back home, to go to a certain place and convert back to being Jewish and the way he was. And I'm not sure what happened to his Goyish wife and children. I have no idea. But the interesting point in this thing that I do remember is that he told him to go back to the king's council to continue to be a member in the king's council, and this is what he did, which is in itself a mifus, how suddenly that he comes back as a Jew and they accept him. This in itself is a mifus. This is another story. The Abtaruv Sichos again, Leinu. Let's take B'ezrat Hashem a quick look at Sichos Haran for this week and see if Rabbeinu says to us at Hashem the last week before Rosh Hashanah. This is Sicha 140, Kuf Mem. When Rabbeinu told me this Indian that is printed in the second Chelek of Kutim Aran Siman Peivav, so Mekotzer Ruach V'Avoida Kosha, from impatience and hard work, that it is through Katnas Emunah, that you don't have enough Emunah, Tzrichim L'Avodas Koshas, you have to do hard avodas. Fasting and all these things. And I stood there and I was taken aback. It's just like, I was wondering because I thought I have a shtickle emunah. And so Rabbeinu said a little bit, he like scolded me a little bit, says Reb Nosson, says, if you have emunah in yourself, you don't have emunah. And immediately he said the Ma'ama Chazal that it says, Mi baz liyom katnos, who looks down to the days of smallness. The Gemara says, who causes tzaddikim zizbaz b'shulchanim la'asid, that their shulchan, would be wasted la'asid la'avoid. This is katnos shayabahim. This is smallness that there was in them. What's the smallness that was in them? Shayabahim be'atzmam, in themselves. She'le'ominu b'hem be'atzmam. They had no emunah in themselves. And Rashi Zichron Livracha, katnas emunah, the smallness of emunah. But from the dikduk of the language of the Gemara, that it says katnas that was in them, it is clear, the words of Rabbeinu Zichron Livracha, that the main smallness of emunah they had was in them. And to understand, okay, so what does it mean that they didn't have emunah in them? It says you have to explain that they didn't believe that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, which is good to everyone, and they are important and great in his eyes. That's the smallness. That's the katnas. The katnas emunah of them is the fact that they didn't mean themselves. And you have to be mechav and according to Rashi. So in Mela, it's understood that a person has to have emunah in himself, in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that you too are beloved by HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And it's not emunah that you believe that you are Mr. Grace, that you are Mr. Big. That's not what it is. The emunah, Rashi says emunah in Hashem means that's emunah you believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so great and is so kind and is so generous and is so giving that you too are great and important in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And Rabbeinu says, it says many, many times, it's not enough to be immersed in the katnos. Says, no, forget about me. No, you have to ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu a lot to be really, to be zoiche, to be truly humble. The dorcha anova be'emes. And often a few other places they spoke about it. And then when Rosh Hashanah came, then he said that Torah of Chadi Rabbi Shimon, Simon Samichalef, that Rabbeinu mentions that in Chisara Emunah Be'atzmai, the lack of Emunah in himself. So you see there in Oshei what is written there, that some people, some tzaddikim have the hachmakas on them because they themselves don't believe in themselves, in their own chashivas. This is, obviously, if you're wondering what's the Ruach HaKodesh and Sichos Haran, this is open to everyone. This is the Sicha that Rabbeinu speaks to each and every one of us, B'ezrat Hashem, before Rosh Hashanah. As I said, I don't know if there will be Wi-Fi and I can have a shiur next Moshe Shabbos. Bli Neder will do it. If yes, yes. If not, not. I don't know. But one thing is for sure, we're having this Sicha, and Rabbeinu is speaking to each and every one of us. It is a propensity for people who serve a Kodesh Baruch Hu to see what they are lacking. And that's good, that's okay. It's normal. Because what you're lacking, you need to fix. But Rabbeinu says that you have to understand you can't let this overtake your day. You can't do this. You have to set yourself a time a day in which you are digging and you're finding out what it is that you should do, what it is that you should, between you and you. But the rest of the day, be b'simcha. You have to be b'simcha, and simcha is not a result of pleasing circumstances. Simcha is a result of a decision. It's easier to be b'simcha when things that you like happen to you. But that's not true simcha. True simcha is a state of existence. It's a freedom of thought. And the Yetzer Hara has gazillion ways of coming in. So Rabbeinu is telling us here something absolutely unbelievable. And that is, if you don't believe that you are important, the way you are, where you are, the way that you're doing, the things that you do, the things you don't do, the things you're successful, the things you're not successful, all your failures in the past, whatever. If you don't believe that you are choshev b'Hakadosh Baruch Hu, it's not just that you lack emunah in yourself, that you haven't got an idea of who you really are and what you really are. You don't believe in Hakadosh Baruch Hu. You don't believe in Hakadosh Baruch Hu's greatness and His rachmanis. Hakadosh Baruch Hu has created you. You know, I spoke about this with my son Rumi, and he told me about a Maisa with the Lubavitcher Rebbe that somebody came to him, and he had the same message to him. He says, you can be small in your own eyes, but you don't realize that Hakadosh Baruch Hu has sent you to this world. I think somebody was supposed to be married to, who wanted to get married to a goita, whatever it is, whatever. He says that I think that he said that Hakadosh Baruch Hu trusted you to make the right decision. I think this is what he told me. He trusted you to make the right decision. But you go even deeper than that. You are a Jew who lives in this world. Before your neshama came to this world, which means Rabbeinu says, should be b'simcha because you're a Jew. And he goes, like, what's the big simcha? Well, I didn't do anything for it. You know, I was born Jewish. What's the big, you know? That means HaKadosh Baruch Hu trusted you, that in you there's a certain tikkun ha'olam that depends on you. The world needs you. The world cannot exist without your life having been lived. The way that your life passed, all your past experiences, the good, the bad, and the ugly, everything. Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't waste time, doesn't waste resources. You're a Jew that the Kadosh Baruch Hu feeds and breathes at any given moment. Every breath you take is a Kadosh Baruch Hu giving you air, giving you food, giving you shelter, is keeping you healthy. You're important by Kadosh Baruch Hu because the Kadosh Baruch Hu is important. And whatever He does is important. And you are the handiwork of the greatest of them all. Take a picture of Picasso, good one, bad one, a lot of money. Why? Because of who made it. Who made you? Who made me? There's no better mindset to go into Rosh Hashanah when knowing that if I feel that I don't matter, who the heck am I? What's the big spritz? Again, this does not mean that, to overlook, your whatever it is you still need fixing. But there's a time for that and a time for that. If you don't believe it, that means you don't have emunah in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. And that's something which has consequences, not just for this world, but for next one. He says, okay, so it's a big deal. It's better to be this than to be a Baal Gaiva. All this. No. Me baz yom katnos. The shulchan of tzaddikim will be diminished la'olam haba la'asad lavoi. Not just like into olam haba, the way you understand it, the waiting room for Tchias HaMesim. After everything, Tchias HaMesim, Judgment Day, after everything, then this is la'asad lavoi. Not believing into your choshev HaKadosh Baruch Hu is damaging for that as well. That's what Reb Nosson said. In this week's parsha, every single day, every single hour, every single moment in your life determines your life, the life of your children, your grandchildren, the end of time. The Shemtov B'ezrat Hashem will bench all of us with bracha, with atzlacha, and ksira chsimetoi, with shana tova B'ezrat Hashem, and we all B'ezrat Hashem see each other in Uman, one way or another, B'ezrat Hashem, and be matzliach with everything. And I want to get Yitz Hashem, each and every one of us will be nechtov and nechtom the alto b'sifim shel tzaddikim amitim, B'ezrat Hashem b'zchut v'koach Rabbeinu HaKodesh, who said that Rosh Hashanah is his property. He knows what Rosh Hashanah is, and everybody is telling Rosh Hashanah. Yish Baruch should help us, B'ezrat Hashem. Shana Tova, Metuka to each and every one of you.